Hi, I'm Ron Kampeas. This is Eric Fingerhut with JTA. We're here at Crew, a wine bar in downtown Denver, Colorado. J Street, the new pro-Israel lobby, the dovish pro-Israel lobby, is holding an event here, and there are lots of lawmakers downstairs and senior Jewish activists and pro-Israel activists. And we're going to talk a little bit about what we've heard today. First of all, there's some buzz that John McCain might pick a Jewish vice presidential candidate. Joe Lieberman, who was Al Gore's vice presidential pick in 2000, is one possibility. Eric Cantor, a congressman from Virginia, is another. And we spoke to people today about what that would mean for the Jewish vote for Democrats, because Jews have traditionally voted for Democrats. Eric, what do you think? Let's talk a little bit about the differences between Cantor and Lieberman. What does Lieberman bring to the ticket?
Well, I think Lieberman brings to the ticket, I mean, the Jewish community is certainly very familiar with him. Some may not like him anymore because he's turned to he's speaking at the Republican convention. That's one reason they wouldn't like him. But there is probably a comfort level among Jews with him that I would guess wouldn't be, at least among moderate and conservative Jews, that there wouldn't be with any other pick that McCain could make. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think he reinforces McCain's moderate image to the degree that that image is based on reality. But certainly, even Democrats say that on social domestic issues, Joe Lieberman is solidly Democratic, pretty much liberal. What do you think Eric Cantor would bring to this?
As far as the Jewish vote, I really don't think think he would have much of an impact on the Jewish vote. He's on domestic issues, in contrast to Lieberman, he's a very traditional right-wing conservative. And while there may be some people out there, that agree, there are plenty of Jews out there that may agree with his position on Israel, but many of them would not agree with his positions on abortion or Supreme Court judges, etc.
Some of the people we spoke to today, including Mel Levine, a former congressman, and Steve Rabinowitz, a top Democratic strategist.
I'm really hoping that it's Lieberman or Eric Cantor, because then we'll settle once and for all where the Jewish vote in America is, because even if Joe Lieberman or Eric Cantor is the McCain running mate, by the way, I don't think it will, but I hope so, then we'll see the American Jewish community will still go 3-1 Obama, 3-1 Democratic, and we won't have this same conversation every 2 or every 4 years.
I think there's probably a floor of about 60% of the Jewish vote that's going to vote for Barack Obama. I think it's very difficult to assume it'll get to 70%. I'd like to see it at 75%. That swing vote is a vote that could somewhat be influenced by the choice of. I don't think the 60% are going to be influenced by anything, by anything that can happen between now and the election, I should say. But the swing could be influenced by all these arguments on Israel, by the character assassinations of Barack Obama that are going on now, which are totally false, by a choice of Lieberman as vice president, if that's what you're referring to, and hopefully by rational argument about what makes sense. I mean, I would observe that I don't have any doubt in the world that George Bush had the best intentions in the world toward Israel. And yet, because of a whole series of policies he followed, Israel is much less secure today than it was when he took office.
Barack Obama is so much closer to the Jewish community than John McCain on every issue: choice, education, health care, and support for Israel. So I believe that regardless of who the vice presidential pick is, Obama's Jewish vote is going to be quite secure. Obviously, if he were to pick a Jewish vice presidential running mate, it would help him. I have a tendency to be very fondly disposed toward Jewish candidates for office, and a number of Jews have that tendency. But in this kind of an election, when ultimately the issue is President of the United States, people will essentially compare John McCain and Barack Obama. That comparison, there's no choice for the Jewish community. The Jewish community is going to go heavily for Obama.
Well, first, I think it's highly unlikely that he picks, say, Joe Lieberman, because of the pro-choice, as well as a whole range of issues where Lieberman, on most issues, votes with Democrats. So I'm skeptical. I think Eric Cantor was also not likely, but let's say there's a chance it happens. I think there will be, just like there was in 2000, some enthusiasm in the community for a Jewish vice presidential candidate. But we saw in 2000 that the Jewish vote in the Democratic side just went up 1 point, from 78% in '96 to 79% in 2000. I don't think it makes a significant difference in the Jewish vote.
Eric, you attended an Israel Project event here in Denver today, and they rolled out a poll about attitudes that American voters have. What did you learn?
Probably the most interesting finding was that 53% of those polled approved of a military strike by the U.S. along with allies on Iran with conventional weapons. That seemed pretty surprising, considering basically the negative attitude towards the war in Iraq. I asked Frank Luntz, one of the pollsters that worked for the Israel Project, about that. He said that it was perhaps due to the fact that Iran is legitimately scary.
I attended the National Jewish Democratic Council event on ethics and politicking, basically. It was a roundtable of political and rabbinical figures talking about how far one should go in attacking the opposition during an election campaign. And it was interesting because, as one would predict at a Democratic convention, they started out by attacking the Jewish coalition and Republicans in general for some of the smears that have attached themselves to Barack Obama. But there was also a little bit of self-criticism having to do with painting John McCain too much as an extremist when people said that actually he was a moderate. Okay, we had a typical Jewish experience. We were displaced. But we want to wrap this up, and let's talk a little bit, Eric, about the Florida delegation with whom you visited today. They had a lot of Hillary supporters there.
Spoke to a bunch of Hillary delegates at the Florida delegation breakfast this morning, and many of them were very pleased by her speech. They said she did what she needed to do, and they were also 100% behind Barack Obama. They did say, though, that a lot of their people back home, former Hillary supporters, are still a little upset, and there's work to do to get them to back the Obama-Biden ticket.
Okay, it's been a busy day. This is Ron Kampeas and Eric Fingerhut in Denver, Colorado for JTA.